Get that J-Lo glow with J-Lo Beauty Deluxe Kit, the one and done skincare solution clinically proven to boost your skin's radiance and luminosity for an immediate lasting glow. The secret is J-Lo Beauty's 5-step routine featuring 5 multitasking formulas designed to cleanse, refresh, and prep your skin to take on the day. So get the only skincare routine you'll ever need. Head to jlowbeauty.com/juicyscoop to receive 20% off, plus 3 free gifts. Guys, it's the holidays, so fun, but so expensive. And many of us will be spending money that we don't have, and we will find that we are in debt. And my friends at PDS Debt can come up with a personalized solution just for you. Start planning today. Get a free debt analysis right away at pdsdebt.com/juicyscoop. It only takes 30 seconds. That's pdsdebt, DEBT.com/juicyscoop, pdsdebt.com/juicyscoop.
Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales for real life, Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Woo woo. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have return guest. This guy knows the Juicy Scoop. This is Kempire. I found you on TikTok, Reels. You get scoop. You cover it really well. Welcome back to Juicy Scoop.
First of all, I have to give you your flowers because...
I love that expression.
Yes, because there are a lot of people in this business, as you know, you've been in the business a long time, that are haters, that don't support other people. You've been supportive when I was just beginning, so I have to give you your flowers. So thank you.
That's so nice. Well, thank you. Well, you're great. So let's get into. I haven't talked about Diddy in a minute because I was just like, what is even going on? We're frustrated nobody else is ever being named. But some weird stuff happened yesterday.
Oh my God.
I had a friend send it to me who wrote, "You might want to stop talking about Diddy. Look at this." And it was a TikTok of this guy that I wasn't familiar with, but he does, how would you describe his material? He does funny bits, but it's like a parody.
I'm not really familiar with him either. But when I saw the story that apparently there are private investigators hitting up content creators, are you being paid to report on Diddy? And I was like, okay. So I looked at his stuff and I was like, but why this particular individual?
Yes. So anyway, my friend sent this to me, and I was like, wait, I think, now this also happens a lot with TikTok where someone is doing something funny, and the first 50 comments don't get that it's funny. Okay. So I was like, maybe this guy's joking, but no, TMZ is reporting on it now. I saw another content creator discuss it. This girl, what is her name? Amalik Panobi. And she got 50,000 likes. So she's quite popular. Yeah. She's a cute girl. And I guess she had the same investigators come to her. So according to what I saw is he thought his friend Donnell, who is a comedian I know, that they worked together, was coming over. So he heard like a knock on his back door, and that's who he thought he was seeing to do like a podcast together. Yeah. And these two guys, just two white guys, like mid 40, 50 years old, are like, hey, we want to just talk to you. Are you the are you the influencer named whatever his name was, Secret Service something?
Secret Service Sam.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, what's this about? And he's like, we just are curious. Are you being paid to do your videos about Diddy? And, in watching it, I'm like, these guys aren't, in my opinion, not actors. They really do seem like they're just like retired cops that got into like investigating. Like they seem like legit. Yeah. And so he's like, no, I only have 100,000 followers. I don't make money off this from the videos, which I can attest to. You have to have a lot more to make money.
Millions.
Of significance. And he's like, nobody's paying me. So then this other girl said the same thing happened to her.
And another guy.
There's a third one now?
I found another guy that said the same thing.
And it's the same two guys?
Same, yes.
Okay. And are they all, did you figure out, were they all in L.A. or what cities are they in?
No. I forgot where Secret Service Sam is. He's not. I don't know where he's located. And this other guy's located in Arizona, I think he said.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, why? What is going on?
I think there's several things that could be going on. Because I think now that we are like, what is the truth? I think just like when somebody goes, oh my gosh, look at this, this hate message I got. And the message is written from someone in this camp. So you would immediately think, this camp is horrible. Look at the hate message they sent to me. But now I'm like, you don't know that. Someone who hates that camp is posing like their worst member, whether it's politics, celebrities hating each other, whatever. And then the person puts it on themselves to say, I'm a victim. Look how awful they are coming after me. So I feel like, I'm like, wait, what are we? Because the first thing you would see this, you'd think, wait a minute. Is that why I'm seeing, if you're just a non-person covering this, you might see, what if this isn't true about P. Diddy? What if all these people that have infiltrated the internet with all their stories from I went to a Diddy party to 20 years ago, he did this to me. What if all these people were being paid in an ultimate smear thing to get P. Diddy to go down so that these other bad people, you know what I mean?
Trying to change the narrative.
Yeah, so I think they're trying to, so that could be one story. Or it could be that truly they did find some people that were getting paid, just like we found with now influencers are coming forward and sharing that they were getting things from different political camps to either be pro-influencers or diss the other side, which I think gave them the idea to then put this out there for people to be like, what is it?
Well, that's not far from the truth, because literally the Southern District of New York that has charged Diddy has accused him of using his own children to change the narrative and to manipulate, potential jurors. So this is legally happening, and he's being accused of doing this from his jail cell.
Right, where it's like, well, which I don't agree with, because you have kids, and there's been kids who have stood by, non-famous, their dad's being accused of killing their mother, and from the famous case of the staircase. However, those kids stick by those people too. Yeah.
The prosecution says that the conversations that he's had with his children about the engagement of said posts. He's talking about the analytics.
Oh, he is.
So he's sort of like,
his conversations that are being taped, he's really saying, get out there.
Yeah. And just, what was it, this week, the judge ruled that the prosecution has to destroy his jailhouse notes. So he was in his cell, writing, I guess, different information about his case, including Kalena Harper, who used to be his bandmate. Apparently, he may have paid her to put out a statement after Dawn Richard's lawsuit against Diddy, telling her, that was not my experience.
Wait, so his former bandmate
from Diddy Dirty Money
has spoken and said, he was the greatest guy. Nothing bad happened to me.
Basically. And she also did a recent interview with a YouTube channel, and she didn't look the best. She looked inebriated. She looked high. So she's not the best witness.
Well, yeah, I think all these people that are, telling their stories, I feel like not one is there any real proof. There's the young girl who said, I was, trafficked from Riverside Social Services and kept in the tunnels of Bel Air. And I'm still like, and people have said, are there these tunnels? And I'm like, I mean, there's permits and C of Os that you get of homes. Like when I was a realtor, we could get that and we could see that this thing was added on and not with a permit, or the original house was this size. So I'm like, if there really are tunnels underneath that were maybe built in 1930 when the house was originally built, in the things of like, what if there's a war or something? I don't know. Yeah. We would know if they were there, and they'd feel like, actually, there are tunnels because this builder did that.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have the answer to that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, then we, all the Jaguar Wright stuff.
Oh, Jaguar.
Who, was singing like this, telling all this before he was arrested about what was going on. Then she did all these interviews. Then, people were doing impressions of her and everything.
Oh, I love them.
Which she liked. She, reposted some of them.
Of course she does. She loves the attention. Here's the thing with Jaguar.
Yes.
I believe that Jaguar is telling the truth in a lot of ways. But I think because of the notoriety that she's gained since then, she's adding a little sauce. She's really feeling herself in regards to it. So there's truth with what she's saying, and I've said this before. I think a lot of people right now will believe anything that you say about Diddy or Jay-Z. That nasty little couple that does nasty things, as she said in her Piers Morgan interview. Anyone will believe it. I can tell you about the Diddy story that I have. I went to a freak-off party before with Diddy.
You did?
No.
Oh.
See? See? Immediately, and I'm sure the audience
probably really convincing. I immediately saw you in a white outfit going about 15 years ago. You're just a little
hanging
baby
out with
Kemp.
Diddy.
Yeah,
hanging out with. See, that's the thing. Anyone will believe anything. And look, I'm not saying that free Diddy. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that now people are jumping on the bandwagon, and I think real victims are not being believed because of that.
I think these cases. They do have to have some validity, like I've said before. Even if it was 20 years ago, in taking on the case, it's like, I wrote it in a journal. I told my mother. I told my best friend. And then the investigator for the attorney goes and is like, yes. And she went here and this happened, blah, blah, blah. So we think we've got someone here. But the guy is also, got now 60 or 50, 70 people. So it's like
120 at least.
It's up to 120 now. How many people are working at the law firm?
120 with Tony Busby alone in
Yes.
Houston. That's 120. Then there were before that 12 civil suits as well. And Tony Busby says that he has multiple lawsuits coming too. He's being sued now by a high-profile celebrity that says that he's trying to extort them.
Well, yeah. If you are somebody that had a regrettable or not even regrettable night back in the day with Diddy, and you're like, I was only 18 and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And all right, I'll call this attorney. Maybe I didn't really realize how fucked up it was, but now I do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I'm thinking, how is this money even going to work? With the pay, is there's going to be is he going to do a class action? He's going to be like, look, there's so many of you. It's better that we just plop it all together, hope to get 20 million from Diddy, and then you each get a portion, and I get 40% of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
According to Tony Busby, it's not a class action.
Okay.
He's made that clear that he's filing individual lawsuits. But he's also said that there have been already some celebrities that have settled with some of these victims that have been naming other people that may have been at these Diddy parties. So this new...
Which is all adding to this. And also, listen, everybody that's part of this, either went to the party because they were fascinated by celebrity or wanted to be one themselves. So now and now everybody wants to be famous. Everybody has an Instagram account. Most everybody has a podcast. Everyone has a TikTok account. So it's like, if I can have a moment just to say I went to this one party just to get any kind of thing. Yeah, we're seeing it all and it's a lot. But again, I keep saying, who are the other people?
I think those other people are going to be named. Not everyone. Not everyone, but based off of what we heard from the Southern District of New York this week in response to, because Diddy is trying to get bail, I believe Friday, this is when they're supposed to have the next bail hearing. He's already been denied bail twice, but he has a new judge, so he has an opportunity to seek bail again. I think because of what we found out in the prosecution's response is that he's doing things from the jail in regards to manipulating witnesses from the jail, from outside. I think he's going to start dropping names.
Well, that would be very interesting.
And I think the names we will find out will be not the names that people have been throwing out there: Kevin Hart, Jay-Z, Meek Mill. I don't think it's going to be those people.
Not as high profile.
Yeah. No, I think not as known as we know them.
Okay. Do you have any insight that you can't say?
No.
Okay.
Not at the moment, Heather.
Those guys knocking
I'm not
on
trying to
your door.
get sued, Heather. Come on now.
Also, Diddy's sons issue a cease and desist over Kim Porter's book.
Yeah.
What
The
is-
second book.
Okay,
Because
explain.
there was the first book, Kim's Lost Words, that hit #1 on Amazon, which they eventually pulled because
And
everyone.
who is the person who claims that they got the drive from her and printed it out? What is that guy's name again?
There are two different people.
Okay.
There's the first book that came out. The second book, Courtney Burgess, who I don't believe really knew Diddy like that. I think he's just the middleman. He received it from some source. He's done interviews with News Nation talking about the book, and he didn't seem like the most credible. But again, I think he's just the middleman. And apparently he is the one that they sent the cease and desist to in regards to this second book that he's trying to put out, saying that, no, this is the real book. These are Kim's lost words. Kim's best friend says that that's not true. The family has said that that's not true. But now they're legally taking action, saying that, within a certain period of time, you have to take this down.
Yeah, I mean, because anybody could have just, someone could just go, here's Heather's lost, and also, I just thought of a crazy thing with the AI.
Oh.
Now, let's say I went missing, okay? And all of a sudden was like, hey, Heather, this is coming from Heather's housekeeper. This was the drive. And here's the book. They, knowing my life and knowing my timeline of my life, because it's all over Instagram and everything. And same with Kim Porter's, you could talk about the fight happened after this crazy party, and people could go, wait, there was a crazy party that, and then you can do, how does Heather speak and write? AI, being that I wrote
Scary.
2 books, and then this thing could come out. It could kind of sound in my voice. Now, I don't know Kim Porter's voice, but the little bit that I saw, I said, I think this is bullshit. This just doesn't sound like a memoir journal-y type of way that a woman that's been through what she's been through would describe these situations. But I don't know.
Well, this goes back to what you were speculating at the top. Are these things that are coming out trying to manipulate what people think?
Right.
And some people have said the first book, that's what they believe. There was someone that was closely connected to Diddy and Kim Porter that just put this out there to throw people off the scent.
To make people go, I don't believe anything now.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering now.
Yeah. But do I believe that there was a book? Word on the street, Kim had openly said that she was working on a book. So there is a book.
And how do you feel about, speculation about, did she really die from pneumonia, or was there foul play involved?
At this particular point, look, the kids have said that's not true. However, at this particular point, not everything has to be a lie when it comes to Diddy. There has to be some sort of truth. And the reason that Diddy has been able to get away with what he's been able to get away with for 30 plus years is because he knows people. And outside the music industry, he knows politicians, the Tom Girardi of it all. Yeah. That's how he was able to get away for decades, because he had the pockets of people in law enforcement, politicians, people in power.
Right.
And I don't know if you knew this. There was, this conspiracy theory the day that Diddy was arrested. All of these CEOs decided to step down from their positions.
Oh, that's right.
Including Kevin Lyles.
Now, who's Kevin Lyles?
He's a big music industry executive. And he stepped down from the 300 Entertainment Group.
And Sony, right? The Sony guy did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why would it behoove them to step down at that moment?
Because they're probably scared of what Diddy knows. And I do believe Diddy.
And they would rather step down, take their money, and just hope that, let me put my head in the sand and hope that I'm not in a position to be pointed at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Or they weren't participatory, but they certainly helped
Protected.
with hush money or kept people happy so that they don't speak or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you think about it, if all of a sudden you're, in bed with this Diddy for his clothing or his glasses or whatever he was doing, the liquor. And then somebody's like, I have evidence, I have photos, I have this, I have that. He was with, underage people, blah, blah, blah. Then they're going to be like, what do we need to do to make you feel whole again?
Yeah.
So that we don't have to clear out all the Sean John glasses and sweatshirts from Macy's.
But remember, even before he got arrested, all of those things were falling apart for him already. Macy's had already pulled Sean John. He was losing a lot and money.
And were they because it just wasn't hip and cool anymore, or was it because of this
remember
stuff?
the Cassie video?
Oh, because of okay. I was thinking prior to like
Cassie's
2
lawsuit.
years ago, was this stuff still hot? I feel like the Sean John clothes and stuff were a little already.
I don't know if
like,
it was hot.
Like it was a little
it was hot in
over.
Macy's, but
Yeah,
I don't know
feel
if it
like
was
the Ciroc was like more
on its
like
way out.
like 5-6 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was definitely, according to Forbes, he was already losing money, but he's lost a lot of money in the last year because of the Cassie lawsuit and the Cassie video.
Juicy Scoopers, I have to come clean about something. And by clean, I mean I actually cleaned out several of my drawers in my bathroom, which were ridiculous. I had so many products that made no sense, that I wasn't using, that were too many routines. That's why I love J.Lo Glow, because first of all, I want to tell you how beautiful it is. This is the products. There's 5 products. I start with a really great cleanser, takes off all my makeup. Then I've got this hydrating, tighten and brightening serum. That's the next step. Then eye cream, so creamy and smooth. Then you've got this hydrating cream. And then for daytime, you've got another cream for the going out and protecting your face against the sun. It's so lovely. And you love that J.Lo Glow. It gives you that dewy, glowy look. People have been complimenting me on my skin. I've been using it for a couple months now. I absolutely love it. So get the only skincare routine you'll ever need. Head to jlowbeauty.com/juicyscoop to receive 20% off, plus 3 free gifts, including 2 quality face masks and a hydrating Beso Balm. Head to jlowbeauty.com/juicyscoop for 20% off and 3 free gifts, a $175 value. jlowbeauty.com/juicyscoop. Guys, it's the holidays. So fun, but so expensive. And many of us will be spending money that we don't have, and we will find that we are in debt. And my friends at PDS Debt can come up with a personalized solution just for you. If you're making payments every month on your debt and your balances aren't going down, PDS has solutions for you. Everyone with $10,000 or more in eligible debt qualifies, and there's no minimum credit score required. Bad and fair credit accepted. This is so important. You guys, I've talked about how at one time I was in terrible debt before I got married, and it really stressed me out. And I was so relieved to get out from under it. So I really want you guys to tackle this if you're suffering. Start planning today. Get a free debt analysis right away at pdsdebt.com/juicyscoop. It only takes 30 seconds. That's pdsdebt.com/juicyscoop. pdsdebt.com/juicyscoop. You know, and then the one son is named in a lawsuit by the steward.
Christian.
Christian by the girl that was working on the yacht.
Yeah.
Said that she was assaulted. And then the 3 boys attempted to fight Ray J at the Halloween party.
What is going on with Ray J? Now he has a news channel. He has his own network. He's a journalist now.
Okay, well, good. Maybe this is why maybe because of that, he's trying to be like, I'm going to set up the truth. And now I do have all this knowledge and stuff. And once he's probably not the one that wants to point the finger, but once it all gets cracked open.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sure you have been like me where you get some juicy tidbit about somebody and you're like, oh, God, I have so many thoughts about this. But I want to be the one who breaks this story because this is
always me.
This is a family and this is a housewife I like. And then let somebody else break it open. Then once Daily Mail and, you know, they pick it up, then I can say, yeah, got that news, you know, a week and a half ago, but that's not what my show is. My show is not breaking news, blind items. That's not me. But like, so I think he's waiting for these people to be arrested or whatever. And then he can go, okay, come to me. Because I was there. I know all this stuff.
Yeah.
And now what I say will be proved to be.
He's sort of alluding.
Yeah.
In these recent, like literally in the last week, he's sort of alluding to what he knows. And he says that, you know, people are reaching out to him, you know, worried about what Diddy might say or do. He also said that recently, because as you know, he was almost jumped by the Combs boys.
Right.
But he says he's good with them. He's had a conversation with them. He's good with them. Okay.
Very interesting.
He's good with them right now.
Now, this is a crazy thing that came out from Daily Mail a couple days ago. Aerial photos show Diddy's 20-foot statue memorializing Kim Porter and her little, quote, badonky-donk at his Los Angeles mansion as he languishes in jail. This is a real article, okay? This is a huge statue of a woman's body, much like in the front of the USC Coliseum, there's a man and a woman's perfectly fit bodies that I think were erected for the 84 Olympics without heads, okay? There's a man and a woman. So it looks like that, okay? And it says, Sean Diddy Combs' mansion features this 20-foot chrome statuette said to be Kim Porter. And the statue, which highlights her little badonky-donk, was reportedly purchased by Diddy after a spiritual retreat 3 years before her death in 2018. And the mansion, which is valued at $62 million. Oh, I didn't realize it was worth that much. And now on the market for $61.5. Oh, they dropped it $500,000. What a steal. Appears empty and unused facilities, covered outdoor furniture. So, yeah, I mean, that's another thing. Like, if you have all the money in the world, even if you could get a deal on this house.
Yeah. Do you want this
It's
house?
almost like, it's the same thing of like, there was, murders or whatever. Could you buy a house where there were murders? You always have to disclose if there's a murder.
Yes.
You don't have to disclose. You have to disclose if someone died. But unless it was a murder, you don't have to say what they died from.
Oh.
Because there was a time in the early AIDS epidemic where then people would say, oh, this person, whatever, died of AIDS here. And then that was very prejudiced. And someone would think, oh, what is there, some like weird germs? And of course we know. So they said then they changed the laws, at least in California, only if there was like a murder, like police report murder type of a thing, you have to say it. Okay. But if someone just like died of some illness, hospice, whatever. Yeah. You know what? I don't know that you have to say even if someone died.
Okay. That's a little good to know.
Because my mom,
I don't know
because
why.
because before this law, my mom was a realtor, was funny and was like, if I'm about to croak, just throw me onto the sidewalk. Like, I don't want you guys to have trouble selling this house. So I think there's different things, but clearly this is something, 30 years from now, if this house is still around, for obviously people could figure it out. But would it be something that would be like, oh, that's the Diddy house. That's where, because I don't even know.
He's having a hard time selling it right now.
Well, yeah. And it's also that's so expensive.
You don't have $62 million?
Yeah, really. Oh, wait, I want to tell you this one other story, which I also thought was so weird because, in choosing these stories to talk about, there isn't like that much happening when it's not like about P Diddy. But this thing came from TMZ and I'm like, what the hell is this? Author of Obama Beach House Sex claims book reveals who should play her in film. I had to read this like 3 times. What are you talking about? So Coria Duanen, I'm probably saying her name wrong, is an author of this book called Undercover Heartbreak, a memoir of trust and trauma. She hopes her book detailing an alleged secret encounter at Barack Obama's Hawaii home will be adapted into a film. In her memoir, she claims a Secret Service agent who was part of Obama's security secretly brought her into the former president's residence and suggested they have sex in Michelle Obama's bathroom. So as you're scrolling, you see this like pretty black girl being interviewed, and you see like Obama sex, his home and Michelle's bathroom. And you're like,
what?
Wait, in all the years of Obama being out there, they never have said, no mistress has come forward, no nothing. No. Michelle has been like, I wanted to kill him for 10 years, whatever. Like, she's pretty honest about things. And I've always been like, I think if there was somebody, I just think we would know by now, or whatever. So I was like, wait a minute. And then I'm like, wait. So this guy was just a Secret Service guy, met a girl. Obama wasn't even there.
No. But he's the name.
Right.
He's the head,
But also, like, but of all the stories, there are probably so many girls, it's not the president, but there are probably so many girls where some guy worked for some powerful dude. Maybe he was his house manager. Maybe he was just his errand boy. And he could impress a girl while the guy is on tour and bring her up the stairs and bone her. But like this story and like making it sound like, and then I fucked in Michelle's bathroom. This is the
But wait a second,
trashiest story.
But she wrote a memoir? So what else is in this memoir? That took you 2 seconds to read.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, so, and listen, Secret Service have written books. They have done books where they say, this is the nicest president. This one, was an asshole. This one ate weird food. It's like, even though they're not supposed to, like, it's kind of like they still, they are Secret Service, but at the same time, like, there's going to be some really stellar ones. And then there's going to be some thirsty, shady ones that wants to impress a girl, knows the code or whatever.
Yeah.
I just was like, dude.
I'm
this is
just
not going to be a movie.
Exactly,
I don't believe it'll be a movie. Yeah.
Because that's the only part that's interesting.
Yeah, and it's not even interesting.
Exactly. It's not even. Who picked it up? Tubi?
I mean, even though the house is gorgeous in Hawaii, whatever, and it's his house, it's like it's just another rich person's second home.
Yeah.
That someone from his staff boned a girl there to impress her.
God only knows what else Secret Service could tell us. I mean, come on. There's probably even juicier stories than that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even involve Obama. It's his home.
Yeah. It's funny. Okay, let's talk about the premiere last night of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Yeah. This has always been my favorite franchise. We, some of us have felt very slighted by Bravo. In particular, that we will probably never see the ultimate girls trip, Morocco. And recently I did a live show with Brandy Howard.
Ooh.
Not Brandy Glanville, Brandy Howard. And she goes, I think that we should file a class action lawsuit against Bravo because we want to see that show. Like, we want to see, there's certain things where you're like, come on. So this premiered, and it is not disappointing. It's
saving Tuesday nights
my
because
God.
Roni is such trash.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills is saving Tuesday nights.
And so the way it was on last night on Bravo is this came, then Roni.
Lucky for them.
And then Watch Robin's Live. So they're trying to get people to stay for the Roni.
Yeah, no.
I'm not even really covering it because there's
nothing to cover.
And nobody's really watching it, and it's just, and Dubai is gone.
Canceled. Oh, put on pause. That's Bravo's.
Bye. Yeah, the put on pause is just such a nice way. It's basically a guy breaking up with you, just saying, I just need a break. We're just taking a break.
Taking a little break.
Okay, so it starts out really pretty juicy because we get Dorit telling Erica Jane. And Erica Jane really, I'm so glad she didn't give up on life 2 years ago. Yeah. Because it was everything. Yeah. I mean, there are certain people in this world that you really should look to and go, you got to stick through it, because now she's never had a better personality. She's humble, she's likable, she's funny.
Yeah. She was always that. She was just unlikable during that dark period.
No, I think she came in not understanding what this really was and still being very reserved because she was still under this man's thumb. Yeah. Even though he let her go dance and be with her gays while he had affairs and she was like, you fuck him, I don't need to. Now we kind of know. But she was still committed to this, thinking I'll never be able to divorce him because I won't be able to walk away from anything because he's Tom Girardi. Yeah. And so I think so now we get to see her just rebuilding and having fun and
looking great.
And interesting that she tells Erica that, because it was Erica who in a moment on BravoCon was like, who's the next to get divorced? And she was just like, Dorit, which again, also it is, in talking about these shows and stuff, we've all made careers out of it. To say who's going to be the next that's going to be divorced is kind of
easy.
Yeah. But it is kind of mean. But I mean, it's not surprising that their marriage wouldn't last because...
I mean, there have been rumors around Dorit and PK for years. Mm-hmm. I honestly believe that they've just decided this season they're going to talk about it and make it their storyline. I think it's always been there. There have been concrete, solid information that these two have lived separate lives.
Well, tell us some of that information.
Well, yeah, for years, though, they've been saying they've been living separate lives, that they're on the brink of divorce. And we know that happens in Hollywood. That's sometimes a rumor that's always out there. They've said that about Kyle and Mauricio. But Dorit's stories her real stories have never really been shared on Beverly Hills. And this is probably the first time that and I thought this with Kyle and Mauricio too. I felt like, oh no, this is the first time that they actually want to make it their storyline and they're going to run with it. And I saw her and Watch What Happens Live this week, and I was like, oh yeah, they haven't told the kids, according to her, which is not unusual. But I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see these two come back together again. And I'm actually kind of concerned because remember Roni, before they did the reboot, all of the housewives were single. And now on Beverly Hills, we have everyone being single.
Yeah, it is what it is. But these characters are still like worth it and good. I'm going to say they are not going to get back together. And I think that she can wrangle a better, younger, richer dude. And I think that she should. I think every woman in Dorit's situation should look to their leader, Lauren Sanchez, and realize that Lauren did it right. You do not look to the path of Teddy, who goes for, the horse trainer that matches the look of her animal. You do not. Who's married to a woman, that right in your circle where your kid rides. No. That is not, if you're going to step out, if you're going to venture for anything, and I think she has been totally faithful, but now that the Band-Aid is ripped off, now that people know that whether you're working on or something, if this has come out and we knew Teddy and Edwin were separated and she had shared that on her podcast, whatever, still it would be bad. But now that it's like we're separated, now I think she can kind of put herself on the market a little bit. And, she is gorgeous. She is, stylish. And she was married to someone, in and out of bankruptcy, but still a guy who knows how to be rich. The house in Encino is now in pre-foreclosure, meaning they've missed 4 payments. And a house that is, whatever, is $7 million. Okay, so let's say the mortgage payment is $25,000 a month and give or take 10. So you are that is someone who is very, in my opinion, sophisticated at playing the bankruptcy game. And knowing that he's getting divorced and everything, he's just not going to pay. And he knows he has his choice. I'm saying this is my opinion hearing it. Maybe they'll pay tomorrow, but I'm saying if you're in this position, it takes a very long time to then actually get the foreclosure and actually make those people move out.
Yeah.
So in the past, when people have been in this position, they're like, whatever, my credit's already screwed, whatever. I'm just going to stay here for as long as I can.
Ask Kim Zolciak.
Rent-free. Yeah, rent-free, basically, until I have to leave. And so that looks very bad because it's like we see you with your, $25,000 outfits that are trendy and still probably not even, they're not fake. They're not being borrowed. Everyone says no. She actually buys them at the store. So while you're doing that and someone else is at home is like, I can't even buy a new dress for Christmas. I need to get my things to, not doing that. And then they're paying their mortgage and they're going to the bank and being like, what do I need to do? Could I do a different payment plan? What, and they're just blowing it. I mean, according to what the news is, they're just blowing it off.
I mean, she sort of kind of confirmed it in the first episode, the things that they haven't talked about on the show, the bankruptcies, the suspected DUI. There are things that they haven't talked about on the show that she, in one instance, was sort of like confirmed it. And I was like, okay, all right. This is a new Dorit.
Yeah. And then, he last year or whatever, it was like he was gone the entire time in London.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird. He has some show about real estate, but he's not a real estate guy. So it's like a Selling Sunset, but in London. But it's just every listing is just of like, what, the Culture Club guy?
Oh, Boy George. Not the Culture Club guy. Boy George had the
Boy
McDonald's.
George. Boy George. It took me a second to think of it.
Icon.
But Boy George, has to show up in every scene, his one client. I don't know. But I'm, and then also, what did you think of the smoking? People are freaking out that she was
I don't understand
smoking.
why everyone is freaking out by that, because they haven't seen her do it before?
I remember So I'm not a smoker, and
neither.
it seemed, and for a very long time you could not smoke. Like since I was like 23, they've like passed a law you can't smoke in LA restaurants. So you really don't see people smoking. Then everybody got the vapes. But I said, and whoever is a Juicy Scooper that could find this, I predicted on this show, I don't know when, but I said real cigarettes are going to be making a comeback. That's going to be like the ultimate, I can afford a real cigarette.
Okay.
Because I'm
and Dorit's the starter of this.
Yes, because that's the ultimate sign of wealth now. Because if you think about it, I'm guessing cigarettes are a lot more expensive than a vape because you have the piece, right? So you're just filling the whatever it is.
I don't know the price points for those.
I don't know, but I'm telling you, that's going to be the flex. Like I can smoke and I don't care about the end of my life because I'm going to look fabulous and stay thin and just smoke.
Good luck.
I remember when Caitlyn Jenner came out as Caitlyn Jenner, and people were like, talking about, did you hear the news? Did you hear the news? And I remember thinking, did they find out that Caitlyn smokes? Because when Caitlyn was Bruce, I remember I saw Bruce after painting Dash, because I was like doing a real estate deal with Courtney, and he was painting the whole place for them. And then he came out and he lit a cigarette. And I remember I was so shocked because he's this, Olympian, the greatest Olympian of our time. And I was like, what? And then sometimes, you'd see it in the show. Chris Wood was that woman that was her treat. A cigarette with a glass of wine or a martini, whatever. So I always was like, oh, there are these like real elites that love cigarettes, So like I am not. So then I was like, did they find out that, Bruce smokes cigarettes? They're like, no, Bruce is a woman. I was like, oh, okay. I thought it was a cigarette thing. Wow. Yeah. Who cares about that? I'm like, this is more shocking that this Olympian enjoys a cigarette. So I think it's really funny that they are like, people are just sort of shocked by
They're
that.
all memes with it now. I'm like, oh, am I missing something? So I'm not missing something. Okay.
No, it is. I think it's a bigger deal in California, and and how it was just very like a very out-shamed thing for so long that it was always people kind of doing it secretly, or I don't want people to see that I'm smoking. But they just love the taste and the experience of a cigarette.
I think it's also symbolic of the season that Dorit's going to have.
Yeah,
she's just like, I don't give a what.
Right, yeah.
So I think that was sort of like the symbolism, like this is how I'm coming in this season.
This episode of Juicy Scoop is brought to you by iRestore. This is clinically proven to advance hair growth, designed for women who want to say goodbye to thinning hair. I know a lot of us are suffering. Our hairbrushes have more hair, the bottom of the drain. And if you're tired of thinning hair loss, you really have to try this. The iRestore Elite is the most powerful device on the market. It's packed with 500 lasers and LEDs to provide maximum scalp coverage to help you grow thicker, longer, healthier hair. Guys, I know you say I have great hair, and I do, but in time, it has gotten thinner. And so when I got this product, I'm like, I'm going to try it. And I have been using it, and I love it. I have noticed a thickness, a fullness, and I feel like it's doing its job. So imagine what it can do for you. Are you ready to get medical grade red light treatment at home to regrow your hair for a limited time only? Check out their huge Black Friday sale. Our Juicy Scoopers will get hundreds of dollars off their iRestore Elite with our exclusive link at irestorelaser.com/Juicy Scoop. That's $100 off the iRestore Elite at irestorelaser.com/Juicy Scoop. Please support our show and tell them I sent you. Hair loss is frustrating and you don't have to fight it alone thanks to iRestore. This holiday season, give him the gift of confidence with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra by Manscaped. Look at this. Come on, this is a dream come true for the man, but also for us. So whether it's your partner, brother, or friend who could just use a little grooming upgrade, this is an all-in-one set. It has everything he needs to look and feel his best, from staying fresh to keeping sharp. It's the perfect way to show you care, because every guy deserves to feel a little more polished this winter. Here we got the Weed Whacker. It really gets the groin area going. This little number gets the ear hairs, the nose hairs. I mean, how much don't you want that taken care of? Then we've got the Crop Preserver. This helps after the shave. and the crop smoother. We're talking keep those balls safe and sound and looking great for everyone involved. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code Juicy Scoop at manscaped.com. That's 20% off. Free shipping with the code Juicy Scoop of manscaped.com. Stay on top of your grooming game. Look, it all comes in this nice bag so he can stay organized. And be ready for anything this season that comes throwing your way. And by throwing, I mean maybe your man's package in your face. Don't you want it looking a little trim, cuter, and nicer? We have a new cast member.
Yes.
Bose, who is highly successful in her own right. But as like CEO and executive, all these things from Netflix to different places, she is a widow.
Yeah.
And also she's retired. So it's kind of interesting that she just was like, I want to know her story because why she would be like, fuck it, I'm going to go on the show and like have fun. And now I'm going to be in front of the camera and I'm going to live my second chapter in life. Like I've worked my ass off as like hardcore executive and now I can just, it's kind of amazing. I love it.
I definitely want to know more about her story.
Yeah.
She was the chief marketing officer for Netflix, and then she had that same position at Uber. Like she's had a very storied past, and then within 2 seconds, a 2-minute conversation with Dorit, we learned a lot about her.
Yeah.
Especially she was married for 10 years, and she had trouble with her husband, and her husband got sick, and that brought them back together. So I'm really interested to know more about her. But the fact that she was a chief marketing officer, I'm kind of like, okay, let me just see how she navigates reality television, because with that type of career and experience, I would think that you're probably a little bit more calculated on how your image is put out there to the world. So I'm sort of like, I got my eye on her.
Well, first season, nobody's going to fuck with her.
Yeah.
And she is just going to come looking like in her gorgeous outfits with her, perfect unique hairstyles. I mean, she's fun to watch. So because we have the party where everyone's wearing
the surreal party, the surrealism party.
I still don't really get it. Am I the dumb person that doesn't understand?
No, a lot of the housewives didn't get it either. So it was like,
why do they have the horns, the trees out of their head?
You want me to explain this?
Yeah, I kind of do want, like, here it is, like.
Well, clearly Dorit didn't get it because that is not the surrealism era or age. Kyle definitely got it. That's just.
Is it like fantasy, like horses and flowers? What is it?
It was an era, so it's sort of that time. So that's what Sutton was giving. That was what Boz was giving. That was what she was. Dorit was giving a little more Lady Gaga.
Oh, okay.
It was a little too modern.
Do you think so? Then they cap it out with their friendship, and the whole thing, and there are a lot of rumors and things that people think why they're no longer friends.
Yeah.
What do you think of the rumor that maybe Dorit and Mauricio might have had something going on?
She was asked about that on Watch What Happens Live, and she's like, her response was interesting because she
say?
denied it. She's like, "Oh, that was so ridiculous," but it was just weird. The even way she responded to it, I was like, "Wait a minute."
If it was totally not true.
Yeah.
There's been some things that have been said about me that are totally not
like
true.
What? Just an example. I'd like to know.
That like I stole earrings worth $10,000.
I forgot about that.
That I stole earrings worth $10,000 and blew off a friendship of 3 years because I didn't want to pay back the earrings and I'm a felon. So yeah, when those things came, when anybody seems to think like, oh, but whatever, you still didn't return the one that was left once it was discovered the earrings were $42 and all this other stuff. I will be on my deathbed saying, never was I told they were real because they weren't real. And this was a smear campaign and like so fucked and so much betrayal. Like I will be saying it like in passion.
Yes.
And it's always kind of the same feeling I get, like why I think it's hard when someone is on trial for like a murder and they're saying they're innocent, but their attorney is like, we don't want you to take the stand. And then the jury's like, well, they just sat there for 3 weeks, with nothing on their face. And I'm like, so the fact that she's like, oh, please, maybe if she feels if she was extra impassioned, I don't know. I think if someone, I've never cheated on my husband. And if I was on a show and someone was like, but you did, what about that? I'd be like, Oh my God, no. I don't know why I kissed his shoulder at the time. I thought it was PK's. I don't even know. I was in a daze. Didn't have any sleep. Less than 12 hours ago, there was a gun to my head and I thought I was going to die. So no, I'm not going to explain myself. But no, I never have made out with Mauricio. I never touched him. I've never given him a hand job. Leave me alone. That's what I would be like. But Dorit's
that's
not
you.
me.
Exactly.
Right, Dorit's not me. So she might have just been like, please. But there are moments kept on camera, which of course they would throw us because they know that's what we want to see.
Into it.
That we're a little suspect, but still no proof.
Yeah, there's no proof. And look, do I believe it? Not really, because I do believe that these couples, as friends, hung out with each other, and Mauricio and PK are very close. Which I'm not saying is impossible. We know all kinds of scandals that happen, but I don't know if I necessarily believe the story. I think it's fun for the audience to be like, I think it's true. It's very much like with the Diddy stuff. You believe it. I could easily tell you, well, I have proof that Mauricio and Dorit had an affair.
Yeah. And I also think the thing that's happening with these shows is that because so many of them really do treat it like a job.
Yeah.
And they like their coworker, but they're not hanging out with the coworker when they're not there. And then so they put them on the back burner until they have to film with them.
Literally the first scene that we see with Erica and Dorit. It's sort of like, oh my God, it's been so long. It's like,
because
don't even pretend.
Because we're not real friends, so we don't need to see each other. We don't need to hang out if we're not getting paid to. No. And that is very different from the early years of these shows.
Who really knew each other,
right? And then I also think I just that I think and also so many things in the franchise, which we'll get into, is but you said this on an Amazon line, on Watch What Happens Live, at BravoCon, on someone's podcast, in an article. And then that's what we're talking about when we get together after 3 months, which is also we're not seeing stuff happen in the moment. No. We're having conversation at dinner and, I like it when housewives will be like, well, excuse me, you're just going to let her talk to me like that? I thought you're supposed to be my best friend. What the hell? And then the best friend would go, yeah, but you have done this in the past. So that's a real moment that we want to see, not set up press moments.
We have to remember, Kyle has been on this show now 14 seasons. She's very pre-produced. I saw the trailer for Beverly Hills, and I said, not another trailer with Kyle running through it, crying. I was like, I can't with Kyle. I was glad that it wasn't a lot of Kyle in the premiere episode. And Kyle reaching for this is the reason I'm mad at you. It's because of what you did at BravoCon. And they played what she did at BravoCon. And I was like, Kyle, you are reaching.
Oh, right. Which was the joke of who's your favorite sister? And she just said, well, or who's your least favorite? And she's like, well, Kyle, haha. Yeah, because she doesn't want to say Kathy. And she doesn't want to shit on Kim, who's always about to have a nervous breakdown. So so it was just a funny, stupid thing. Yeah. But I think... this is just this. But
it was a good premiere. It was a good premiere. I have to say, despite that.
Now, when she speaks to Garcelle, Kyle, and she's like, "I can trust you," and I'm like, "No, you can't." And then Garcelle's sitting there, and she's like, "I don't even want to say her name," meaning Morgan Wade, because she doesn't want now to be discussed. Oh, now that you've become famous, you knew what you were doing when you agreed to be on the show. Yes. You didn't just fall off, the turnip truck. The coconut. You didn't just. You knew what you were doing. And then she's like, yeah, but then you did a video making fun of that, of you guys being a lesbian couple. And still, we don't know, but this has been hard and I have to think about it. I'm like, so stop milking it out. So what is your opinion? Because I've shared my opinion.
I love the fact that Garcelle held her accountable in that moment because she spoke for the audience. Because you're literally saying, oh, now you don't want to mention Morgan's name, so I'm going to mention it so much this season. Yeah. Morgan.
She's a public figure. She's been on the show. She was in 20
She benefited from the show.
Benefited from this,
And you did a whole music video alluding to a lesbianic relationship. Yeah. So now you don't want to mention her name? Now you don't want to mention... Has she come out?
No, but I think Morgan... This is what I think, in case you didn't know. I think that, yes, there was something romantic and stuff in the beginning.
She got turned out by it.
Yeah, now they're just friends. But Morgan, still really cares for her. But Morgan is also I'm a real musician, and I don't want to be wrapped
Have you heard
up
her?
in this
No,
brothel.
sorry.
I'm going to make you love me. I'm just guessing what Morgan is thinking. I'm a real musician. I want to make it in this real world. I don't want to be known as the housewife, lesbian side piece musician. I want to be known as like, hey, you know,
musician.
a real one. And so we can still hang out, Kyle, but I'm not going to show up on the show. And like, I'd really appreciate if you don't talk about me. And maybe they still like hook up, but I don't think they're like a real couple.
You think they hook up? I think we talked about this the last time I was
here.
I
don't know if they do or they don't, but I'm like so sick of hearing about it. And maybe she doesn't know. Maybe she just, I mean, she's probably being honest where she's probably like, yeah, I really enjoyed her, but I don't know if it's just her or if I'm really gay, which is, you know, totally understandable. But it's just to the people at home, we feel like, you know, get to the point. Answer the question.
Look,
yeah.
What is the point? I'm interested to figure out. I think she's having her L word moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's having her moment where she's figuring it out. She may have gotten turned out by Morgan, but I think she will eventually go back to men.
So I don't think it's the first time she was with a girl.
Oh no, she grew up here in Hollywood.
I think that she and Mauricio, you know, had fun, and I think maybe even had like a third or whatever.
Oh.
And then she was real open, and that's why she was real maybe okay with his, you know, whatever, stepping out here and there.
Okay.
He was fine because otherwise he was such a great husband and they got along that she was fine with it. And then when she got sober and everything else, she just was like, oh my God, what have I been like? Once the alcohol was gone from her life, I think that she had like real clarity about what is a turnoff to her, what she doesn't want anymore.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to explore this thing. And and it was really fun and I really liked it.
Yeah. Well, the difference here, though, is that she had a relationship with Morgan. A one-night stand with someone is different. So her actually having emotional feelings for another woman, that would be interesting. And I think
I have a prediction.
I think she was also on a rebound because of the Mauricio stuff.
I have a prediction. She's going to have a guy next season.
Of course.
It's going to be a guy.
Of course. And that's probably why Morgan's like, I don't want to be on the show. I don't want to be with you. We could be friends.
Yeah.
Because Morgan, lesbians, you can account for this. They had this moment where they've been with a heterosexual woman and they break their heart.
Yeah.
So Morgan probably was like, I don't want to be in that position anymore. Or maybe I've been in that position and I don't want that anymore.
Yeah.
But I think this is just her storyline.
But and also I think that Morgan wants to like break away from this.
From the Bravo universe, probably.
Yeah. Like all of a sudden Morgan's like doing shows. She looks out, it's just like a sea of like my audience. She's like, where's my country lesbians at? This is not what I'm like need to sell. But just a girl like Morgan, like wearing BravoCon shirts with her Hermes bag. She's like, no, this isn't my vibe.
I don't blame her.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a musician and you wanted to be
Right.
taken serious as a musician. And maybe it was someone's, I've speculated that it was some publicist's idea. You guys should come together. This would be great for your career, Morgan. So
I feel like as a comedian who then, you know, built my podcast on talking about juicy stuff and housewives being a big part of it, I feel like I don't have the respect of comedians.
Really?
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
I feel like they see me as, oh, that's the girl that only talks about housewives. Oh, she's just like a Bravo person or whatever. When I'm like, I was a stand-up first. I am a stand-up. If you see my stand-up, it's not about housewives. It's legit.
I knew you before, Juicy Scoop.
It's a legit stand-up life. In just creating my podcast, I just was like, oh, I like imitating these girls and I'm interested in it. And it was, I love it. I'm not going to not do it because it does really interest me. But I feel like, so I kind of can relate to why Morgan's like, or even when like Matt Rife, who's a comedian, was like, he was so good looking and he basically said like, I know I have a big female audience, but I also have a lot of guys who think I'm funny or whatever he said. And then they wrote articles of like, you're shitting on your female audience. It wasn't that. It's just like, I don't know. It's like,
we all have that feeling of like, we want to be known as something, but everyone knows us for something different.
Right. Yeah.
Some people know me for Diddy stories. Some people know me. Oh, that's the Housewives guy.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's what we say to ourselves.
Yes.
We can't care about, our peers. Do we want them to respect us? Yes.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they're not paying your bills.
Right.
Okay.
Or even sometimes when I ask someone to come on the show and they're like, but I don't follow Housewives. And I'm like, no, that's not what the show's going to be. I wanted to get your whole life story. Like, we're going to talk about this, this, and this.
Yeah.
So sometimes now if I write someone, I have to say, like, the show is not just about Housewives. It's also not just stand-up. Like, I find this, or just comedy, like, I find you interesting. And And then other times I'm like, oh, who cares? Don't come on. I don't.
But I'm glad you mentioned that because I think there are a lot of people that will watch this and relate to it, especially other people that do what we do.
Yeah.
And feel, oh yeah, I feel the same way, Heather. I don't want to be known as one particular thing.
Right.
At the end of the day, it only matters what you say about yourself.
Right.
Who cares about the rest of the world?
And so, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Oof.
I'm super fascinated by the Bronwyn situation.
Oh, that's an ugly outfit.
And horrible eye makeup. I will never. I mean, that is a clown outfit.
Oof, and that's a hard 39.
I will never understand why people do that one draw line, like that trend. That Julia Fox trend is an awful trend.
God, is she still around?
Not really.
Good.
That took a minute.
Ooh, she took that 2 days with Kanye and she ran with it. I was so tired.
Yeah. and then came back again. I was used, but we never slept together. We never did that. I'm like, oh God, it's just fine. But
Bronwyn.
But Bronwyn there's some cool things about her, but the thing that fascinates me is her marriage to this guy, Todd.
Todd
and
father.
It's very reminiscent of Erica Jane and Tom Girardi when she was like, I remember there's a scene he's talking to Lisa Vanderpump, and Lisa Vanderpump's, very interested in hearing what he has to say. And he says something, and then she just sort of like adds to it.
Yeah.
But to certain men, it's like they see that as like you're interrupting, and he's like, Erica. and it's like, oh, that kind of thing. And so it feels like so daughter daddy, where it's like the tension that she feels. I mean, I know when they met this couple, when they saw the dynamic, those producers were like peeing in their pants with excitement. And I really think what happened was she, wanted to do it. He wants to give her what she wants, whether it's a $4 million necklace, which I'm really curious. Did she really keep that $4 million necklace or, anything like that? And, or this, I want to be on this housewife show. And she probably convinced him. This will be great. He probably didn't do all the research he should have done. He should have spent a weekend watching all of them. No,
Heather.
He's probably like, okay. And then he's like, just as long as you don't fight like that, I don't want that.
Yeah.
And then when she has this scene where she then has to fight, because that's a show, and you see her, and he's like, in all our years together, you've never behaved like that. And to be honest, it's just very unbecoming, which is just like such a like humiliating word. Like that was very unbecoming of you as a lady. Like you just look like trash. And then she's like, Todd, I just, well, this is the way these women speak, and I have to match that. Like she's basically saying, if I don't bring it and act like a screaming asshole, then what was the point of me being on the show anyway?
He didn't know that.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, the whole point is you want to be famous, which is fine. You're like, let's see what will happen with this. But also in every housewife's back of their mind, it's like, well, if it doesn't work out, I can do something other than work at Nordstrom.
Yeah.
I can have a glamorous life. I can be elevated. I can be part of this elite group of people, and,
Well, we need to let Bronwyn know that that's not true.
What's not true?
She doesn't have to work at Nordstrom's, but if you think you're going to spin this into a money-making career,
that ship has sailed.
Yes.
The ship has sailed in this franchise.
It's not going to happen. That's why I honestly believe the Todd father is not going to allow her to come back next season.
Yeah, it's either that or it'll come to heads and they will break up because she'll say, no, I'm not giving this up.
Yeah.
Remember that one of my favorite scenes is that in the made-for-TV movie about Sarah Palin when she was running for vice president, and Julianne Moore played her, and she goes out and she gets all the love from the, and then she's like, comes back and she goes, we got to win this thing. There's no way I'm going back to Alaska. And it was just like, it was so like, I feel like the minute they get a little taste of this, even though some of it's hard, they're seeing mean things and they're cast member, it's a taste of like, where they're like, well, I'm not giving this up just so I can shop and cater to Todd. I've already done that for 18 years.
No, 10.
Oh, they only been together 10? Okay, 10.
Yeah.
And, but oh my God, that in the moment also when she talks about her daughter meeting the grandparents, and, he, again, doesn't want it being talked about because he is like, I've paid for your daughter, not these grandparents that she hasn't seen. And so then he was like, that's enough. We're done. And then she's just like, oh. And then she's always like, oh, hey, cutie. And he's like, I'm like, he's not.
He's very crotchety,
Yeah,
very
he's so
old, very
crotchety,
rich.
and he's just like, yeah, we agreed this wasn't going to be what it was going to be. Well, she can't control that.
No, I think he went on that trip thinking that it was going to be one of their regular trips, not realizing that they were producing reality television.
Right.
And Lisa knows what she's supposed to do. They're all, especially on Salt Lake City, are caricatures of themselves.
Right.
So Lisa knows that this is what we do. But when Lisa was told, we're going to send you home.
Yeah.
By the Todd father. You notice how Lisa was completely different. She was like, hey, Bronwyn, I have love for Bronwyn.
Yeah. And I also think that, especially on Salt Lake, because I talked to a waiter who was at one of these, table scenes last year or so. And they do redo stuff. They do have them come in allegedly and be like, you need to re-ask that question.
Yes.
It's more than other shows. And so I feel like when they're at that table, bringing up, you said this on a podcast, that's our beef. Well, you said this on this podcast, that's our beef. That's our beef. That's our beef. Those are the scenes that are filmed. And then it's almost like, we did our work.
Yep.
Now we can have some drinks and play pool and jump in the jacuzzi.
Yep.
And so then you see them kind of having fun because they're like, oh, we clocked out. Like,
Yep.
even though the camera's still on us, essentially we've clocked out. And
Those are the real moments.
Yeah. And I think the audience is just starting to see, like, really, this is it. But I find Salt Lake very entertaining. Like,
They're
at least I'm
definitely-
entertained by them. I'm entertained by OC, and I'm entertained by Beverly Hills. So this is like a golden time for me to like enjoy what's on TV right now.
Yeah, OC is bringing it. This was
Yeah.
like their best season. I'm not a huge OC fan, but I've been watching it for the last 3 seasons, and I was like, this season was so good from begin. And it's not because I'm in it. Beginning from the first episode to the reunion.
Wait, you were in it from?
You hear my voice.
What do you say?
What did I say? Something about Shannon
Okay,
Bedore's DUI.
Oh, driving into a house. I thought that was you.
Yeah.
Because I was like, who is that? How do I know that voice? Okay, yeah.
So it's not because of that. It's because it's really been a good season. I'm loving Jennifer. I like Katie, and I like that Katie and Jennifer have a good relationship.
Yeah.
But what I don't like is that we've seen a pattern of lies with Katie, and I'm just like, ooh, Katie, like, I'm rooting for you, but there's something there with Katie that...
I think with Katie, this new girl, I think there's something very dark that happened in her previous marriage that for, she didn't share it with the producers and she didn't want to share it. Maybe it's a legal reason or whatever. And I think if she comes back, she will be a little more forthcoming with it. And she should, because that is what will make the audience now like trust her and like her.
Yeah.
But
And
again,
they do like her too.
she has minor kids with this ex, and if she doesn't want to share it ever, then she also doesn't have to.
Yeah.
But then she also has to risk people being like, well, why was this untrue and this untrue? And it's like, well, maybe I was covering up something, that I think they should all come back.
It was a good season. A good season, good cast. Tamara, oh, God. She's very quiet during this reunion. She's very quiet.
I just saw a clip because I just hosted the American
congratulations.
Reality TV Awards.
Yes.
And she was there and she presented and she was on the red carpet and she said this before that in filming it, she wasn't worried. She thought she wasn't worried that the audience wouldn't be on her side at all. And now in watching it back, like she somewhat can understand it.
Yeah.
But the way it is, it can be. We saw what we saw, so edited or not, we saw it, and I think the audience just really felt like we know she had a bad night. We know Shannon Beador had a bad night. It was the worst night of her life. She got a DUI, got in an accident. So if there is anything of her behaving poorly right before that, the supposed video, we believe you.
Yeah.
We don't need to see it. Yeah. We believe it was bad. we've seen her on the show waving her hands around and everything.
Yeah.
So, like, of course, on her worst night when she's, like, somewhat broken up with her boyfriend and wasted, of course she's going to go to his house and probably make a scene and make an ass of herself. Like, and I think with him, he was kind of saying...
Johnny J?
Johnny J. I think this is where it got screwed up, is that I think he was like, oh, my God, all these things, I have this awful reputation. She has said these things, not on camera, but to the other cast members who then relay it on camera. Mm-hmm. He doesn't pay for things. He says mean things to her or whatever.
I believe it all.
And his side is he doesn't believe. He says no, right? So then when this whole thing goes down and another part comes out where it's like, oh, I think that he heard my accent and didn't even bother to come down, which was then said on a podcast. I think then he was like, oh, my God. I have videotapes of her acting horribly. I don't think he ever was like, I'm going to show them to people.
Yeah.
I think he was just like, I have them. And then Alexis then says it on camera, like, I'm sick of everyone thinking we're awful. Like, we have, and I think it was almost like, we have the videotapes. He has videotapes, but he won't, he's not going to share them, but he has them. Yeah. But the way it got to the audience, it felt like a blackmail thing.
Yeah,
but
it felt like extortion.
I think almost like he put it out there, or she put it out there to like pat them on the back to say, but we're not sharing them. Aren't we great that we're not sharing them?
Well, they recently settled their lawsuit, finally. So I'm assuming he probably signed that NDA that she wanted.
So now Shannon said, I will not film with Alexis no matter what.
Yeah, I don't think Alexis is coming back.
And I think, and it feels like Emily is really fighting for her not to come back. If you see the preview of tonight's thing. And really going hardcore, where she's like, you know what, Jen? This thing over here, every trash can has a lid, and you need to know as an attorney that you need to pay your bills. And why is it that it's okay that you be friends with her? And then Jen's like, well, then why are you friends with Tamara? Like, Tamara's awful too. And it's like, I'm just saying, it's not mean girl behavior. Even Shane knows I'm not a mean girl. And can I have espresso martini? Like, it's just like, she's just like, oh,
she's
like,
doing a lot.
She is like screaming through the whole thing. And I'm like, I think that they would like Alexis and John to come back. And I think the only way they'll come back is if they stronghold Shannon and say, are you really going to give up this $1 million or whatever we're offering you? But then I also hear a lot of their salaries may go down regardless of their performance, just because the whole, the
ratings are down.
Yeah. But I think for them, maybe not. But, Shannon is the star of the show, and she's not just because of her tragic life, but she has all the things. She has a tragic life. She has an ex-husband and an ex-boyfriend. She has, she's funny.
And she shows
up. She's pretty. She shows up. She's authentic. And, and when
she'll show up and then she'll walk away.
And she's vulnerable. Yeah, and she's vulnerable. So it's like, so whatever happens with her, even if she had a super happy season next season, and, it's still going to be entertaining to see her, be like, Tamara was my friend. And clearly this is not a friend. And at certain points, I need to have boundaries, and we'll still love it. So, like, the only thing is, can they make her think that she wouldn't be asked back if she doesn't play nice? That's the thing. I think it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
But I think as an audience, I want to see them all come back.
I mean, I'm open to all. I think Alexis, I know the way that she is perceived on the show, no one likes her. Rightfully so, because she became his mouthpiece, Johnny J's mouthpiece. But when she wasn't talking about Shannon, when they went to Big Bear and they were having that little girls trip, I was like, Alexis is actually kooky and funny. It's an easy target to make fun of, too.
And also the other girls have said, in times where they're not filming and like Katie lost her father-in-law or whatever, Alexis is like that friend that actually does call, send something to your house, is like, can I come over with the casserole? Yeah. She actually is that person. So it's like, I think it would be interesting to see it, and I think they would have even maybe brought her back had she not been dating Johnny. She says that they were talking to her. Oh, you know what Jen said recently, the new girl Jen?
Yeah.
She said when she was with her husband that they went through the process.
Yes.
And she never shared we're having problems because they appeared not to the, outside world. And then she didn't get picked. They said, basically, you're too boring. She's like, okay. The husband was down because he's like, oh, you maybe this stupid yoga thing could like make some money if you're on TV, so do it. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to say stupid, but a yoga studio is not a big money maker unless it has some type of notoriety, like, Billy Blake's or whatever, workout. So then she said, then out of the blue, the casting director called her. And right when Tamara was coming back.
Yep.
And one thing Tamara is she is a producer's darling. She gets an A+ in the class. She is a star pupil.
Yep.
She will deliver the moments. And she, I'm sure, in my opinion, called the producers and was like, I know this girl. You guys interviewed her a couple years ago. Oh, God, Tamara, she was so boring. No, listen. She's getting a divorce. She's dating this guy who has kind of a questionable reputation around town. And and he's attractive too, and he's a thirst bucket. He'll want to be on TV. I'm telling you, this is like golden. So then she gets a call out of the blue, and she was like, "Wait, you guys are interested in me again? Well, I don't think you will be now." Like, she's so innocent because my life's gone to shit. I'm getting divorced. He's dating my ex-best friend. I'm dating this guy from the gym, and the girl goes to her, "Oh well, okay, well, hope you're doing okay." And she goes, and not less than 20 minutes later, they're like, yeah, we're interested. And then Tamara goes, listen, they're interested, but what's going to really help seal the deal is I told them that the four of us are like best friends. Yeah. And we go out to dinner all the time, and Eddie and Ryan, like whatever, work out and do men's stuff together. And like, this is going to be great. So then she gets on the show. And that's why the first season she was like so confused. Yeah. Because she thought this was her good friend who then would act one way when the cameras weren't there. And then when they were together, she's like chucking a napkin in her face out of nowhere.
That's
and she
so
was like
disrespectful.
She's like, am I in the Twilight Zone? Oh no, I'm just on a Bravo reality TV show.
And you're dealing with Tamara Judge.
Right. Yeah. So
but we ended up falling in love with Jennifer.
Oh yeah,
I did. I'll speak for myself.
I like her. I like her.
She's so likable. She's so herself.
Which I appreciate. They came to my show in Irvine with Alexis and John, and Katie, and I will say, Alexis was really nice. Okay, she posted about the show. She came right backstage. She was not taking photos with everybody because I said, if you want to say hi to me after. I need you to do it right after the show because I have a next show. And I go, but I know it's going to be hard because the audience is going to want to talk to you and take photos with you. And in the past, when I've invited housewives, that's been the case. And I don't blame them, but whatever. They love the attention. How can you not?
Oh, yeah.
She was like, no, I'm right at the door. Where's your son? We want to say hi to you. Oh. So I have to say there is...
Maybe she had come in without the Johnny J portion.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if this was just like... a girl who lived in the neighborhood and ended up dating an ex, like, they never were on the show together. Mm-mm. So if she just started dating somebody that dated someone she knew in the neighborhood, like some people are like, okay, that's weird. But like, I have friends that are like in, South Carolina or North Carolina, and they're like, it looks like a reality show. They're all attractive. They're all on their second husband. Oh. They're all dating each other's people.
Oh.
Because they're all like in the neighborhood and they're all like of the same socioeconomic level. And
So when are we producing this reality show?
I'm telling you, it's good.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, I'm invested.
That Lake Norman area.
Oh, Housewives of Lake Norman. Come on.
But yeah, like I'm saying, if it wasn't a show, it wouldn't be that. But then with all this, but it made for so entertaining for us.
Shannon this season.
Yeah.
It
distracted
honestly,
from...
she should really give them a gift basket. Oh, she did. $70,000.
Yes.
Because it really made her situation, she could literally be dealing with the Karen Huger situation right now. And where people are...
and let's talk about that.
Yes. Karen Huger, her her second DUI.
I can't deal with Karen Huger. This is Potomac. And she is, a 6-year-old woman. She also got a DUI and in an accident, not with anybody else.
Thankfully,
just like Shannon, nobody else. She didn't even have a dog in the car. And she talks about it with her cousin who she was on the phone with, who I guess she was on the phone again, shouldn't be while you're buzzed and talking on the phone, and then hit the car or hit
She's
the tree.
never admitted to being buzzed, Heather.
Oh, sorry. And then she said, oh, it's because I was mourning the death of my mother who died in 2018 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. No, she's coming up with every excuse.
That's what I'm saying.
It's her parents, her mom died, her father died, and then her issues with Ray.
Okay, but still, like...
She's been under a lot of pressure, Heather.
Okay, I'm sorry as someone who has lost my parents.
Sorry.
If you're of a certain age...
It's going to happen?
It's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen, and I'm sorry that it didn't work out the way you thought, but like, you're 60 years old. Are you supposed to still have your mom around? I mean, it's pretty rare if you do. And losing any parent is hard, but I think you cannot. Now, if the parent had died, 1 week prior to the DUI, and she was just like, I was coming back home from the hospital, and I was just like, in a distraught space, and I hadn't really even dealt with anything. We just got done planning the funeral, and I fucking just then everyone would be like, yes, still horrible.
Yeah.
To then try to pull the sympathy card,
But here's the thing. I can understand being distracted because of going through distress, but were you drinking, Karen?
Yeah.
Were you drinking? Were you under the influence of alcohol?
I don't know. I guess we'll know, And
I mean, according to the reports, there was beer in the car. She was, not able to walk straight.
Beer was her mother's favorite.
Oh, okay.
Was her mother's favorite? And
From
you
Surrey.
don't understand. It was my mother's favorite. And I was looking at that beer thinking, if only my mother was here, then Ray would give me more attention. I don't know. It's just like she is. But this show, you guys, Potomac, is so messy with this girl, Mia, who has this older husband named Gordon. And he...
and she has a boyfriend. Don't forget about the boyfriend.
She has this boyfriend named Ink, who she dated before meeting Gordon, then met Gordon, got married to Gordon, and it gets out on last night that she then had an affair with Ink while they were married, got pregnant, terminated the pregnancy, and then cheated on...
Ink didn't know about it, apparently.
He just found out and in this moment in the kitchen, and then got with him again because she believes that one of her two children... No, she believes that... So the daughter, I guess she believes is Gordon's, but the son, who's older than the daughter, she doesn't know if it's Gordon or Ink's.
She says, because I think she did an IUI, so she says she believes that that's the truth. But Gordon's the one who did an interview and put it out there that possibly...
What's the truth? Who's the dad of the boy?
That Gordon is the father. But because Gordon put it out there, she wants to do a paternity test.
Oh.
But she believes, Mia believes that, no, that is definitely Gordon's son.
Well, if we see, then she does it, and we see it on the show and it hasn't been leaked by a blogger, because I don't know that we know who the dad is, then her claim that Gordon has bipolar mental disorder and he was a nightmare to be married to, then I think we'll have a little more sympathy for her. She comes off, though, like she's never really out of control, though. Like she's pretty good on camera, as far as expressing herself, saying her snarky things, and
lying.
Yeah,
lying and lying. We call her Mia be lying. That's
so
what we
you
call
think
her.
She's lying a lot?
She's lying a lot. Giselle did an interview. She was doing a press junket while she was in New York. Says that Mia has a lot to answer for at the reunion because she has lied a lot during season. Ashley, this week alone, says that Mia has a lot to answer for at the reunion because some of the things that play out during the season, her character is questionable. The fact that these OGs are saying this about Mia, we already know Mia lies a lot. If you're a fan of the show, we know she lies. One thing you can rely on her being consistent about is lying. So the fact that these folks are seemingly turning on her before the reunion, I believe they're filming the reunion this week, that's kind of interesting that they're turning on her. I'm wondering what plays out during the rest of the season. I'm already cringing at the fact that she has her boyfriend and her husband on the same show and the paternity is being questioned. The kids are in the other room. They can clearly hear what's happening. So that already makes me go, ugh.
Yeah.
So I wonder what happens during the season that makes the majority of the housewives turn on her, basically.
Okay, before we go, can you just explain to the audience, to remind them, what happened on Real Housewives of Atlanta with Kenya? Because she just did Tamron Hall's show.
Yes.
And just give the Cliff Note version of what happened to remind everybody, because it was pretty crazy.
So this was at the top of their new season, Sweet 16.
So we have not seen it yet.
We have not seen it yet. I'm hearing the top of 2025 is when we'll get Atlanta.
Okay.
Right now we have 5 shows on at the same time. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. But Kenya was accused at the time of putting up poster boards of Brittany Edie, the newbie. And one of those poster boards had Brittany with something in her mouth of the male persuasion private area. And Kenya denied that she was involved in revenge porn. And she says, Bravo never investigated me for that. An organization is not going to investigate you for revenge porn. Okay, so they're going to investigate if you've violated their code of conduct. And according to, I think it was the exclusive from lovebscott.com, that they got the information that wasn't what she was let go for. She said that she wasn't fired. She was, they decided to mutually part ways.
Mid-season.
At the top of the
filming.
season.
Oh.
And when I was doing my live show in Atlanta, people were spilling tea that were there. They confirmed that, yes, this is exactly what Kenya did at her own spa event. Now Kenya has confirmed that this is what she did.
So she's doing a thing like, here's my hair, and here's, where did this come from? And
poster boards. She went to Kinko's and got it printed.
It wasn't even like on a slideshow.
No, it was
like
a
mine.
poster board.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know. Poster board.
That was a lot of effort.
Yeah, that's a lot of. She said, and it's funny because when she was on Tamron Hall, it's almost like she took a little accountability, and then she sort of was like, I had a lot more that I could have shared.
Yeah.
And giggled. And I was like, wait a minute, what is happening right now?
And then she basically said, her excuse was, what you don't realize is I felt I was being attacked by this woman, and I didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
So no, it's not okay that I did this, but I did it because I'm a mother.
Yeah.
And since I've become a mother, I was feeling extra vulnerable, and that's why I lashed out with this thing. And it's like, you're going to pull the mother card. Like, you gave birth at like 50 years old. You're 53. The girl is 3 or 4. Like, again, just like Karen, we're not going to feel sorry for you that your mom died 5 years ago when you were 60. Yeah. And I'm not going to feel sorry for you like
she also used her mom card too. Yes. In regards to her mother basically disowned her when she was a baby, and she was raised by her grandmother.
Oh, she brought that up.
She brought that up on Tamron Hall as well. I just wish she would have just owned it. She really ruined this opportunity because she was given the opportunity to come back, according to my sources.
And then she did the fake crying. I'm like, my child, your child was not in jeopardy. Your child was at preschool. Your child had nothing to do with your child. Yeah. And you know what? There's a lot of single mothers out there, and you're on a show, and you have so much privilege, and you've been on the show for so long, and you've gorgeous
and they didn't want to bring her back,
else.
Allegedly. They didn't want to bring her back this last season. Because,
and then she did this and fucked it up.
Yeah. She ruined that relationship.
But I feel like but you know what? Bravo forgives people all the time. Phaedra's come back. She will come back too if the show continues.
And I think that's what she was doing this week in regards to sort of like, I talk to Andy Cohen all the time. That's my family. I think there were rumors that she was going to sue them because of, the suspension. But I think she's backtracking on that because she realized.
When people say that Andy's their family, if Andy was to invite 4 housewives to his Thanksgiving dinner with his 2 kids and his parents, in your opinion, he had to, otherwise he would lose $10 million. He has to invite 4 housewives, past or present. Who do you think he would choose?
Oh, my gosh.
I'll say mine first.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes.
I think you'd pick Erica Jane, just because he's like, her +1 would be a hot piece of ass. She would clearly have like some hot gay dancer. Okay. Let me think. Not Kyle, because he's sick of her crying. He also wants to have some fun. Tamra. Tamra, because he just will get like some snark. And let me think. And then who's like a classic? Who is a classic that he would also want there? I feel like he doesn't like that many of them. Hold on.
No, he
really
doesn't.
likes them. The London girl, the Dubai girl that got fired.
Caroline Stanbury.
Yeah, he'd want her. And then he's going to also
You asking me this question.
this is hard. I just thought of it in the moment.
Which is
Wait, give
perfect.
me
Thanksgiving
another-
is next
Let me
week.
give you another one.
No
Giselle.
one on this cast.
Oh,
just-
I think Giselle. No?
I think he would invite Robin over Giselle. Giselle's very sensitive. He said this during BravoCon.
Robin? Okay.
That he had a joke.
Okay, so you think who are your 4 now?
Okay, my 4 would be Nene, no matter what they've gone through.
Oh, you're right.
No matter what they've gone
Because he knows
through.
it's a good time. He knows
Yes.
it's a good time. Okay, I'm going to replace my Giselle with Nene. So now mine are Nene, Erica Jane, Tamra, and what was my other one that I said?
What was the other one? OMG. Tamra.
Bronwyn. No, he's
You're
actually
changing.
going to invite Bronwyn because he wants some
newbie.
real wealth.
Oh.
He wants some real wealth, but he doesn't want her to bring Todd. So it's Bronwyn, Erica Jane, Tamra, and Nene. Okay, who do you think yours are?
Nene Leakes, definitely.
Okay.
Candy, because they actually, I could tell that they actually have good banter together.
Okay.
Teresa Giudice, because she's going to bring some good food.
Good point.
Okay,
Good
so
point.
Nene, Candy, even though that's going to be a little bit of a fight. Nene, Candy, Teresa.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of all. Oh wait,
New York. Anyone from New York?
No, from New York. No, none
He's
of them.
trying to act like he likes somebody.
He's
doesn't.
probably changed his number so that they can't contact him. He's not inviting anyone. He probably would invite Luann.
Kathy Hilton.
Oh, he would want to invite Kathy just because
She's so entertaining.
If she
and she
says
gives
yes,
some scoop. Yeah.
he'd be like, yeah.
And she'll bring like the little girl Lucy like some fabulous gift.
Yeah.
She'll come with like really good gifts.
I could definitely see that, but then Kyle would be very upset with him.
Okay, now I'm going back with my 4.
Oh.
Kathy Hilton.
Okay.
Erica Jane. I am going to go with the Teresa and the food.
Oh, copycat over here.
Nene, and then Nene. I think you're right, but no Candy. Those are the 4. That would make his Thanksgiving fun.
I think Andy would agree with me. He would definitely invite Candy. I think despite everything that he's gone through with Nene, he would invite Nene. Definitely Teresa, because Teresa's going to bring some good food.
Okay.
I feel like, let me just think. We have Salt Lake City, no one on Salt Lake. Mary Cosby, maybe. He might invite Mary Cosby just for entertainment.
Just for the weirdness.
Yes, just for the entertainment. I think he does like Mary Cosby in a weird way.
Yeah.
Or Chanel Ayan. She would be a good time.
Yeah.
That's it from Dubai.
Oh, I had said that girl from Dubai. That's why.
Oh.
Carol. Kempire, you're such a delight. Tell everybody where they can. So wait, the show is tonight, Wednesday or Thursday?
Wednesday.
Tonight. So you'll have missed the show.
Yeah.
So
Which is
what
fine.
other thing besides, tell them where they can follow you and if do you have any other shows coming up?
Yes, I'm going to London. I'm taking the Kempire After Dark live show to London.
Great.
And that's December 8th. And then I'll be in Washington, D.C., January 24th. And then I'm, of course, back to my hometown, New York City. We have a show in February. The date hasn't been announced yet. But, of course, everyone can follow me at the Kempire on all socials and, of course, on YouTube at Kempire.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then everybody go to heathermcdonald.net. That's where you get the juicy scoop with the Patreon. And I do have dates in February. I, too, will be in New York, February 14th.
Let me know.
D.C. the 15th and Newark, New Jersey on the 16th of February. So check me out there. And thank you so much.